2020, I lost 30 pounds of body fat and I have kept it off since then. And here's the thing. Most women have lost weight before 20, 30, 40 pounds, but how many of them have actually kept it off consistently over the years? Very, 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 very few. So I'm going to talk about what it actually takes to not just lose the weight and how I lost the weight, but how to actually keep it off. Because at the end of the day, no woman goes on a weight loss journey and is like, yeah, I want to lose the weight and then gain it all right back. And that's what happens to most women. But nobody actually wants that. It's a miserable journey. And you've probably experienced that before because most women have lost weight and then have gained it back. And it freaking sucks. It's miserable. And you feel like all of your hard work and discipline that you poured into yourself gone in the snap of a finger. It's so sad and it sucks. So let's talk about what it really takes. And I'm going to say first and foremost, understanding that maintaining your weight is actually so much harder. And I hate saying this, but it's true. So much harder than losing weight. And the reason for that is because when you're losing weight, you have motivation. You have a fire lit under your butt. You are looking in the mirror, you feel like you're fat, none of your clothes fit, you hate what the scale says. So you are so motivated to be disciplined with your diet, to go work out even when you don't feel like it, to say no to the fries, to the extra alcoholic drinks. You're so motivated because you're so uncomfortable being in your skin. So losing weight, yeah, it's hard. It's hard and it requires discipline and focus, but you are so motivated by being uncomfortable. So it's easier to stick to your habits. Here's the thing. Once you lose the weight, you're comfortable. You've reached your goal and you have nothing to light a fire under your butt to say no to the treats and the alcohol and all these things. And it's so easy to be like, ah, just one. Just one. One can't hurt. But one is never one. One leads to two, which leads to three, which leads to four. And you're like, oh my God, I just gained all the weight back. How did this happen? Because habits are a slippery slope and you have to be very careful what habits you say yes to. Again, because we like to think, oh, we can just have a little bit here, a little bit there, that it adds up. And so you first have to know before you embark on your weight loss journey or on your maintenance journey is that the little things add up and they often snowball into you saying, oh, well, I already messed up for today. So I'm just going to eat everything that I've said no to and start again tomorrow. Maintaining your weight is so much harder. So much harder than losing it. And I speak from experience, okay? I speak from experience. So you need to know that going into your weight loss journey so that when you are trying to, or on your maintenance, when you're trying to maintain your weight, you're not kidding yourself into thinking, oh, it's going to be easy. You have to mentally prepare yourself that it's going to actually be difficult and that you are still going to have to apply willpower and discipline to say no to the extra treats and drinks, even though you don't have that fire under your butt. So I need you to know that first and foremost. So let's talk about how I actually lost the 30 pounds. Okay. I love calorie counting. I know it's very controversial nowadays, which honestly I think is ridiculous because weight loss is calories in, calories out. I understand that. Okay, let's not even get into that. I'm a big proponent of calorie counting, huge proponent because weight loss comes down to calories in, calories out. Now, it is up to you if you use calorie counting as a helpful tool or if you become neurotic with it and become obsessive with it. And I used to be very, very, very obsessive with calorie counting. And now I am very, I'm not going to say relaxed about it because I'm not relaxed with anything that I do, but I don't spiral into negativity. If I go over my calories, I'm like, okay, well, tomorrow's a new day. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. I don't freak out over it. I've trained my mind to be calm around calorie counting. So I just want to say that because I have talked to so many women who are like, I just can't count calories. It makes me crazy. I obsess. I used to obsess over calorie counting too. And I was able to get myself to a place where now I can count calories and not be obsessive and not freak out. So I just want you to know that if for 10 plus years you've been obsessive with calorie counting, that does not mean that you cannot calorie count in a calm and positive way. I did take a break from calorie counting to give myself that time away from something that did make me obsessive. So I definitely think there's a huge benefit to taking a break from calorie counting. If you've been calorie counting your whole life and you are currently obsessive with it, I think there is a massive benefit to taking a break from it. But it doesn't mean that calories don't count and that you can't get back to counting your calories later in a way that actually works for you and that doesn't stress you out. And I want to make that so clear because I don't ever want somebody to feel like their past is going to define their future. Again, I used to be obsessive with calorie counting. And if I just said, oh, that just means I can't count calories ever, I would not be in the place that I am today where I am in the best place with my physique, with my fitness journey. I feel so good. I feel sexy. I feel hot in my body every day because of calorie counting. So just know that if you've struggled with being obsessive with counting your calories, it doesn't have to be that way forever. You can absolutely take a break, but you will have to approach calorie counting either actually the way you do it or mentally differently than you have before. But I counted my calories in order to lose weight. And you may be asking, well, how many calories did you eat? Everybody's calories that they should follow to lose fat is going to be vastly different based on your dieting history, based on your physical metrics, your height, your current weight, etc. So my best advice would be to go to tdeecalculator.net and calculate your estimated calorie count to both maintain, actually, let me just say this, to maintain your weight. Go to tdeecalculator.net and calculate your calories to maintain your weight. And then I actually recommend aiming for those amount of calories. I do not recommend slashing your calories by 500 calories, which is generally the advice. I actually want you to aim for your maintenance calories because a lot of people are just inconsistent with their diet. And so a lot of times if you just focus on hitting your maintenance calories consistently, for a lot of women, they can actually lose weight just by doing that. So I recommend starting there. And then if you're not happy with your weight loss progress, you can always cut your calories from there going forward. But I counted my calories. And in terms of my actual food choices, I definitely ate processed snacks like Quest bars, Quest chips, Bear Bell protein bars, um, beef jerky. Like I definitely ate processed foods, but I mainly prioritize whole foods. Whole foods. And I mainly prioritize lean protein, like 99% lean ground turkey, chicken breast, 96% lean ground beef, salmon, not super lean, but we love salmon. Shrimp, tilapia, cod, to give you a few examples. But I prioritize lean protein and vegetables. And I don't like to cook. I'm lazy when it comes to cooking. So I would actually get frozen vegetables and then I would just heat them up in the microwave, toss them with whichever protein that I had, and then add a condiment um, of whatever I felt like that day to make it actually taste good because I don't want to just eat plain vegetables and protein. I'm not that hardcore. Like I'm pretty hardcore, but I'm not that hardcore. So I counted my calories and I mainly focused on eating vegetables and lean protein with a condiment to make it taste good. Because vegetables and lean protein are so satiating and filling, and your girl has a massive appetite. So if I were to eat, I don't know, let's just say like rice. If I were to eat rice in a meal, I could down thousands and thousands of calories of rice and not feel full. So that's going to make it very difficult for me to hit my calorie goal for the day if I eat foods that I don't feel full on. So lean protein and vegetables are very filling and satiating. Do they taste the best? No, but you got to sacrifice something if you want to lose this weight, girl, and you want to keep it off. And I was like, all right, well, I can set like I really wanted to reach my goal body and I really wanted to maintain it. And I was willing to sacrifice a little bit of the foods, not even a little bit, a lot of the foods that I like to eat because I knew they weren't satiating and then make it hard for me to hit my calorie goal. So you got to make sacrifices. So I mainly focus on lean protein, vegetables, and then whatever condiment that I like to make it taste good. Here's the thing though, if I had strong cravings and I had it consistently for 2, 3 days, then I would allow myself to have what I was craving because I wasn't trying to go crazy. But that doesn't mean I'm going to make every meal taste like gourmet just because. I usually wait until I have a strong craving and then I allow myself to have it so I don't binge on it later. So that is my balance where I'm not like totally restrictive, where I'm never going to have what I want. But I'm going to try and mainly focus on protein and vegetables because that's what's filling and makes hitting my calorie goal easier. And the less that I eat things that are very high in like fat and sugar and that are very, very delicious, the less my body's actually going to crave it. So I try to really minimize the amount of like overly, what's the word? I mean, I'm just the first word that I can think of is like overly delicious foods because I'm not trying to train my body to crave those more and more. Um, so counting my calories, focus on whole foods, but mainly lean protein and vegetables. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, like do you not eat fruit? I will eat more like high fiber fruits, like berries. But in terms of the like grapes or bananas, I do try to keep my sugars low. So because I have noticed a difference in my results and how my physique looks when I keep my sugars lower and in my cravings when I keep my sugars lower compared to when I keep them higher. So like yes, fruits are healthy, but in terms of just straight like weight loss and physique, I definitely notice a huge difference when I mainly prioritize vegetables over fruits. I definitely follow a low carb, high fiber, high protein, and then I would say like moderate fat macro split. I don't actually have like specific macros that I hit. I focus mainly, like I said, on calories, but generally I do follow high protein, low carb, high fiber. So basically the carbs that I do have are just coming from fiber and like moderate fat. That is what I feel best on and when I see the best results. And I'm very results driven. I love having a very lean physique. And so I do what I can to maintain and reach that physique. So in that is nutrition wise, that is what I did. Counted my calories, mainly protein and vegetables. Use that tdecalculator.net to calculate your calories that you should be following. And here's the thing is as you lose weight, your metabolism will start to slow down just because there's less of you. And so you don't need as much food to support a smaller body. And so you will need to slowly lower your calories that you're eating. So as you lose weight, I would recalculate what your maintenance calories are on that same website. And I would not drop your calories unless your weight or your physique plateaus for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Then I would recalculate and then aim for that new calorie goal until you reach your goal weight. And so nutrition wise, that is what I did. And then fitness wise, in the very, very beginning, because it was during COVID, so I didn't have access to a gym. I did not focus on resistance training other than body weight, which at that time actually did make a huge difference because I wasn't being consistent with my workouts before. But I mainly focus on cardio, and I was very creative. So I lived in an apartment building at the time, so I would run up and down the stairs of the apartment building for like 20 minutes. I just set a timer and I just go up and down. That in itself, great cardio. I lived on, I don't know, floor, the second or third floor. So I didn't feel comfortable doing like plyometrics and jumping exercises because my neighbor below me probably would have murdered me. But I would go outside, and this was in the Arizona summer heat. So if I can do that, I mean, I don't know where the weather is like where you are, but you want it bad enough, you'll endure the weather. So I would go outside in the blistering heat and I would do like um jumping jacks, I would do jump squats. I had a jump rope, so I would use that. Something I really like to do, especially if you get bored, is I like to go on YouTube and search 30-minute body weight hit workout, and then I would just prop that up on like a bench, and then I would follow that um the video, and I would do that outside again just because I lived in an apartment and I didn't want my downstairs neighbors to absolutely hate me. And so that's an example, but I would just switch it up every day. I would just make sure that I moved my body and did at least bare minimum 30 minutes of cardio of whatever I felt like doing that day every single day, because again, it's calories in, calories out. So if I can increase my calories out by just moving more, doing more cardio, it's going to help me lose weight. Now, because I wasn't heavily resistance training, did I lose muscle mass? For sure. But at that time, I didn't care because I just wanted the weight off. None of my clothes fit. I was so uncomfortable. I hated the number that I saw on the scale. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I can always build the muscle later, which you can. You absolutely can build the muscle later. And I didn't want to do the slow and steady approach. I wanted to get the weight off. I wanted to do as much cardio as possible. I ate in a calorie deficit, focus on lean protein and vegetables, and that is what I did. So I just made sure to move as much as possible, and 30 minutes minimum. But if I had, I mean, there were some days where I would go out every few hours and do like, just again, I would run up and down the stairs. I lived on Tempe Town Lake, so I would like run around the lake, just do whatever I could to move my body, get up, and just burn some extra calories. Um, and I went through different phases in my journey because like I've made past videos on how I lost the weight. And I believe in some videos, like I talked about doing like a slow and steady approach, which it's interesting because for me at that time, I did do a slow and steady approach. Like I could have gone way more extreme, but in the past, that's what I had done. And that definitely failed. That set me up for failure long term. But I say that this time I was extreme for the average person. Like most people would look at what I did and be like, wow, that was extreme. For me, it wasn't, because I just have an extreme personality and I do everything 100%. And that's me. And I just like living that way. Um, but yeah, for me, it actually didn't feel like that much. I definitely could have done a lot more and gotten the weight off faster. But I wanted to find that middle ground between feeling like I was making progress fast enough for me, but also not killing myself to the point where my metabolism was absolutely trash, which would have made maintaining my weight so much harder. So eventually I lost all the weight. I think it took, I don't know, eight. The timelines are so blurry, and I've mentioned them in past videos, but something like 8 months. And what I my weight has definitely like fluctuated a little bit over the last 5 years. Like I haven't been, the exact same weight every single day. That's just unrealistic. But I have generally maintained my weight, and I have not yo-yo dieted like I used to in the past. And so what I have done in order to maintain my weight is I continue to track my calories, track my food every day. And if I go out to eat, I don't bring a food scale. I'm not like, oh my God, okay. I'm not super anal or particular about it. I just will put in I use my fitness pal. So I will literally search in restaurant dinner, and then I'll click the first option, which says like I think 1,000 calories for a meal. And then I will look at the meal and and generally you have this skill after you've tracked for a while, but I'll look at the meal and I'll go, okay, that looks like about 500 calories, or that looks about 900 calories. And then I will change the serving size in my fitness pal to match what I think the meal was. So I do not log individual ingredients. I do not weigh out my food. To me, that just is too much work. If you want to do that, all power to you. My biggest thing is, as long as it doesn't stress you out, do it. The more particular, the more accurate you can be, the better. But the caveat is, if it stresses you out, then you need to pull back. If it stresses you out, that's when you should take a step back and be more general with how you do things. And so for me, I still like to track everything I eat. That doesn't stress me out. But if I were to force myself to track like every single little ingredient that I had, that would be too much for me and that would not be sustainable for me. So I continue to track my food every day. And I hear a lot of people say, like, I don't want to track forever, which is fine, but you don't have to, but just understand that you have, in some way, you have to be cognizant of what you eat, especially as you get older, especially as your metabolism slows down. It's easy to not account for little calories here and there and then start gaining weight, and it just snowballs. And so you have to be cognizant of what you're eating. And the easiest way for me to do that is by counting my calories. Takes a second. It does not take me long at all. It doesn't stress me out. So I still track my calories to this day, 5 years later, and I love it because I know exactly what I'm eating. I know if I'm eating a little bit too much, when to pull back. I love it. There's no guesswork. I can look back because our memories are often inaccurate. So I can look back last week and know exactly what I ate, how much I ate, maybe why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling today, or why I'm looking the way I'm looking today. So I really like to track metrics because it's the most accurate. And again, doesn't stress me out. So I track every day. I track my steps every day. It depends on what season I'm in, but like, let's say for right now, I aim for at least 10,000 steps a day. If I don't hit it, I don't stress myself out. I'm not like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I'm like, okay, cool. I did not prioritize steps today. How do I prioritize them tomorrow? And so a lot of this is your internal self talk. I used to be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. I can't believe I did that. What's wrong with me? No, no. The reason why I'm able to maintain my weight is because now if I mess up, or if I eat more than I wanted to, or I didn't hit my goal, I'm very calm with how I talk to myself. And I go, okay, what happened? Why did it happen? How can I improve? I've got this. That's literally like the pattern that I go through when I talk to myself. And because I'm able to talk to myself in such a calm way, and I've practiced this. This is not how I talked to myself in the beginning. I used to freak out. So the more I would just tell myself, no, it's fine. It's okay. What did you learn? What could you do better? Now it becomes natural for me to talk that way, but that's why I can maintain my weight and I can track my food and I can do what I do without feeling or going crazy, because my self talk is very self regulated and very relaxed now. I lift weights generally like 4 times a week now. And when I lift anywhere between the 6 to 20 rep range, depending on the exercise. My lifts are about an hour long. And again, outside of that, I just make sure I hit my steps. I started taking dance classes back in September, so that has been great. I do that like anywhere between once or 3 times a week. But just biggest thing, I stay active. I track my calories, even when I go out, especially when I go out. I have stopped drinking. Like, very rarely will I drink now. And that has helped massively because I'm definitely somebody, when I drink alcohol, I like to, I get the drunchies. And so I'll eat a lot of food when I'm drunk. And so I've just learned, like, I can't have that. As fun as drinking is, what it does to my physique and my fitness journey, it's just not worth it. And so it's all about figuring out what sacrifices are worth it to you. Like, some people, they're like, oh, there's no way in HE double hockey sticks that I'll ever give up alcohol. It's just way too fun. Hey, that's fine. Just understand what the consequences are if you can live with that. For me, I'm like, no, I would rather prioritize my physique goals and maintaining my weight. And if that means I have to cut out alcohol, I will do that. And yeah, there are sacrifices. There are times where I go out to dinner, I'm like, yeah, I would love to have a drink, but I already know where that's going to lead. And I don't want that. So it is what it is. That was a lot in a video. And I had no structure. But hopefully you were able to follow my train of thought. And if you have any other specific questions about my journey of losing the weight and maintaining it, definitely let your girl know. And if you would like to work with me one on one to lose weight with nutrition and fitness coaching, then you can actually DM me on Instagram. I have an application form on my website, but you can actually DM me on Instagram. We could talk more personal details there. My Instagram handle is at VIVIANNNGO, which is pronounced Vivian, no. VIVIANNNGO on Instagram. Message me on there. I think I'm hungry because my stomach just made a noise. So I'm gonna go. I was saying I'm gonna go eat. Now I gotta film some TikToks. I'm gonna film some TikToks and then I'm gonna eat, and I'll see you later.